This is not a story about someone who lived in hiding. This is a story about someone who never needed to. We can't start this early. We cannot start the messing up the words this early in the episode. It's already there. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen 15 times.
It's okay. Roll with it.
In behavioral profiling terms, Twisty represents a classic example of an organized offender, an individual capable of maintaining structured employment, social relationships, and civic participation while simultaneously, I can never say that word right, engaging in concealed criminal behavior. He operated in environments that reinforced trust, business ownership, civic organizations, community events. These are not spaces where suspicion is naturally present, which is part of what allowed his behavior to remain undetected for so long. For the purpose of this analysis, we refer to him as Twisty, not to fictionalize the case, but to emphasize the duality central to his psychological profile, a man who constructed a socially functional identity while maintaining a hidden behavioral system beneath it. Okay, ready?
Yes.
Hey, Sinister Sippers. Grab your drink, get comfortable, because once again we're about to get into it. I'm Americus.
And I'm Shandara.
And this is Sinister Sips Investigates, where we talk about all things sinister one sip at a time. And tonight's story is The Man Behind the Clown. I go to Tennessee for 2 days. I come back with a sinus infection.
Fun times.
We were outside a lot. Twisty was born in 1942 in Chicago, Illinois, into a household characterized by emotional I can't. Volatility and authoritarian parenting. From a developmental psychological perspective, his primary attachment environment was unstable, particularly due to a father figure who utilized humiliation, physical discipline, and psychological
Degradation.
degradation as a primary form of control. Sorry, y'all, I have been researching another new episode all day, and these are not the words used in that one. And when it says authoritarian parenting, that doesn't mean he just spanked his kids like you're supposed to.
No,
this means he beat the shit out of them.
Yeah, and he ruled with fear. It was, you were a perfect child, or you got the hell beat out of you. Or worse. I mean, because sometimes physical abuse is horrible, but sometimes the mental abuse is just as bad, if not worse, because it never goes away.
Spanking your child is okay. Gentle parenting does not work.
No.
Beating your child is not okay. That's what we are saying.
Yes.
Repeated exposure to this type of environment is associated in behavioral literature with identity fragmentation, where the individual develops externalized coping mechanisms rather than stable internal regulation. Twisty's early development reflects this pattern through increasing reliance on impression management, altering his behavior depending on his audience to achieve acceptance. So he was the pick-me boy.
Yeah, he wanted attention.
Exactly. Compounding this instability was a congenital heart condition that limited physical activity and contributed to prolonged isolation from peers. Basically, his dad would look at him and go, "You're a piece of shit, sissy boy, because you can't play football."
Yeah.
And then you got Bobby Boucher's mama.
Football is the devil.
My mama said.
But at that time period, too, you
played baseball, football.
If you were a boy, you're supposed to be a man. You're not supposed to show emotion. You're not supposed to cry. You're supposed to be out there being wild and, doing the stuff, beating the shit out of the neighbor kid because he's too skinny and wears glasses.
True. This reduced opportunities for normative socialization during critical developmental stages, increasing dependence on fantasy construction, self-renovation, and narrative control. By adolescence, Twisty demonstrated early indicators consistent with what people in profiling identify as adaptive deception behaviors, including exaggeration, role shifting, and identity experimentation. These behaviors are not inherently criminal, but they become significant when combined with later behavioral escalation and lack of emotional regulation. So, it really does make sense when you look at it from a profiler standpoint.
Oh yeah, completely.
I feel like we're in the Criminal Minds episode, like Spencer Reed just shot all this shit out of his head from like left field. And I'm over here like Derek Morgan going, where did we buy this one?
Yeah.
So now we're going to move on to the next part. This is going to be fun. In early adulthood, Twisty relocated to Vegas, Nevada, where he worked initially as an ambulance attendant. So, yes, he dropped out of high school.
Right.
But he lost his job in the ambulance because he wasn't old enough. He was like 17.
Oh, okay.
From a forensic psychology standpoint, this role is significant because it involves repeated exposure to trauma, injury, and death without structured emotional processing. So after losing the ambulance job, he was later employed at a mortuary where historical accounts indicate that he spent extended periods inside the facility, including sleeping on a cot within the building itself. Yeah. Behind the embalming, like there was the embalming room, and right beside that was his cot, because he had nowhere to live.
No, that's like, ew. Just ew.
Yeah, but he had nowhere to live, and the owner felt bad for him.
Okay, but I mean, you could have, like, let him sleep in one of the viewing rooms or something, like upstairs, not in the basement with where they keep the pointy objects and the formaldehyde. I mean, just ask him for a friend.
This level of environmental immersion placed him in constant proximity to embalming procedures, deceased individuals, and postmortem preparation. And there's actually talk that he would crawl into the coffins and cuddle with the dead bodies.
No.
Are you grossed out yet?
Yeah, a little bit. That
takes a lot to gross you out.
That's a little much for me, friend.
Okay, so here comes the big one. One frequently cited incident involves Twisty entering a coffin. Did you have to drop your mic? The people probably heard that. I'm sorry, earbud listeners.
I'm sorry, my arthritis is flared up. I can't keep a hold of anything. Rain sucks.
One frequently cited incident involves Twisty entering a coffin containing a deceased teenage male. While the factual details vary across accounts, the behavioral significance lies in what it suggests: boundary erosion, emotional desensitization, and abnormal fixation on death-adjacent environments. In profiling terms, this reflects early-stage affective flattening under repeated exposure to morality context, especially without psychological intervention or supervision.
So he's trying to get his jollies off.
Yes. This phase does not indicate criminal escalation on its own, but it does represent what behavioral analysis describe as desensitization corridor, a period in which repeated exposure to death reduces emotional inhibition and normalizes proximity to mortality, not morality. Same difference. At this point, like this is a moral and mortality thing.
Yeah.
Twisty eventually left this environment and returned home to Illinois after a broader life pattern of environmental reset when psychological pressure increased. So, he basically called his mom and said, "Will Dad let me come home?" And Mom went, "Your dad's not mad at you. You can come home." Note, he's like an adult at this point.
Yeah, but, I mean...
He still wanted his father's approval.
Yeah. I don't know. At this point, though, if he had just, met a nice little vampire that could have took him in, maybe everything would have been fine.
Where's your Edward Cullen, buddy?
Well, I mean, Bella really did have a shitty choice: bestiality or necrophilia.
You got a point. But as an adult, looking at all the red flags in that movie, I would pick Jacob over Edward, because Edward was a walking red flag.
Yeah.
They
both were.
Yeah, but at least Jacob wanted the good for her. Edward was just like, "I'm gonna make you beg for something that you want," and then just like keep telling you no. She could have had normal sex with Jacob.
Stockholm Syndrome.
For real. Hello, Harley Quinn. After returning to the Midwest, Twisty entered a socially normative life stage. He married, relocated to Iowa, and worked in restaurant management, where he developed a reputation for reliability, leadership, and interpersonal competence. So, his father-in-law owned a bunch of KFCs, and he got to manage them.
Ew.
He managed the KFCs that his father-in-law owned.
So he was over the chicken.
He's over the chicken.
Chicken. Original
was
or
the
extra crispy recipe?
He was the colonel.
No. He knew the secret to the 11 herbs and spices.
I don't feel like that'd be that hard to figure out. Twisty later joined the JCs, which is a civic organization focused on leadership development and community engagement. It's like FFA, but without the agriculture.
But it's almost like he was trying to be the adult he needed at that point that he didn't have in childhood. He's an upstanding member of the community. He's well liked. He's someone that I'm sure the employees would have went to and said, "Hey, I'm having this problem or that problem." He was almost trying to be what he wasn't.
Well, he would invite them to his house for like ragers.
See, he was trying to be everyone's friend. At that point, he was also trying to be accepted by
anybody,
peers that he didn't have when he was a child. He was trying to fill those gaps that he lost in his childhood.
And of course, this is a fast food, so a lot of it was teenagers. So they were like, "Oh, free alcohol," and my mom thinks I'm with my boss.
Yeah, well, I mean, right there, and that's probably something he didn't get a lot of in high school at that time period because he dropped out. But he was also not the kid that anyone wanted to invite over.
No,
and play
they probably
with.
looked at him. They probably looked at everyone. Don't go to his house. He's going to be the school shooter.
Yeah,
in today's time.
Yeah, but he's trying to fill that void that he never had.
Within this structure, he excelled socially, rapidly gaining leadership roles and achieving recognition, including outstanding vice president. This is significant because it demonstrates high social adaptability and status acquisition behavior. I don't know why I'm struggling. Both common in organized offenders.
So, but doesn't that award kind of sound like one of those things you do for your trophy kids? You know, like, "Oh, you have the best smile. Here's a trophy."
Yes, it does. You know,
"Oh, little Jimmy farted twice today. Let's give him a prize."
It's like at the end of the school year when the kid who was the biggest fuck face got the class clown award because they were the most interruptive little asshole in the whole fucking building.
Because you can't give them their kids an asshole award.
No, but you want to. When you're sitting there saying,
most likely to serve time.
Yeah, when you're standing up there at awards day, you can't be like, "And here is Timmy Turner, and his award is class clown." But really, in your head, you're thinking, "And this one goes to biggest shithead who made me buy a lot of wine this school year."
Yeah. Most likely to go to jail
before the age of 18. However, during the same period, informal reports of inappropriate behavior involving younger individuals began to surface. Oh my gosh, I just realized what I forgot to mention. He got diddled as a little boy on the bus by an older girl when he was a kid, like kindergarten age.
Oh, that's sad.
And then getting older, him and another boy, they were like maybe 6th grade, I want to say, somewhere in that age range, 5th to 7th grade. They fondled a little girl, like in the same grade.
Oh, that's so sad.
So that just adds to this.
That's sad.
And there was a family friend who he would go with to, like his dad, like go out with the family friend.
So he had a sneaky uncle.
Yeah, but when he told the dad during interviews, he's like, "No, he was just showing me wrestling moves. It wasn't sexual." But he literally told his dad that
penis out.
Well, he literally told his dad that he didn't want to go around the family friend anymore, and Dad was like, "Quit being a pussy, it's not that." These were not formally acted upon at the time, illustrating a key systematic vulnerability. High-status individuals in trusted community positions often benefit from institutional bias towards credibility over accusation.
So, in other words, this kid is a young teenage punk who we don't think he really wants to work, but he's trying to say that the boss man grabbed his junkaloo. Mm-hmm. But we're going to say, no, because look what an outstanding citizen he is.
Basically,
he got the Vice President of the Year award.
But looking back at it, with all the times of the sexual abuse, I mean, he was
perped on, so he became a perp.
Yeah. This stage represents the full formation of Twisty's dual identity structure, a socially reinforced public persona and a private behavioral system that remained concealed.
Which is really sad when you think about it.
Exactly.
I mean, he was messed with as a child multiple times in multiple stages in multiple areas, and nothing was ever done. And then he gets into this place of power and he personifies that and then he's got that nice little shield in front of him.
Yep.
Because he's the upstanding guy. He's the one everyone wants to trust and love.
Yep. Twisty's first confirmed criminal conviction involved a sexual assault against a teenage male. It was a sodomy charge.
Oh.
From a behavioral standpoint, this represents a transition from covert deviant behavior to actionable criminal escalation. And he denies the sodomy charge. There was literally an interview where they were like, they say you're a gay killer. I'm not gay. Never denies the killing, but denies being, gets so butthurt over being called gay.
Well, and that probably comes from the time period he was brought up, because that was not something that was okay.
No.
And in a lot of areas, it was still illegal.
Yeah.
I mean, you would be arrested and put in jail for being gay.
Oh, yeah, it's just crazy to me how in that interview after he realized he, didn't naysay the killings, he was like, oh, but I didn't kill anybody. Someone else had to do that. I can't even fit in that space.
Yeah, it is a tight space.
Well, we'll get to that. Okay, hold on. Okay, we're good. After arrest, Twisty demonstrated a notable behavior adaptation pattern within the correctional system. He complied with institutional expectations, maintained controlled effect, and presented as cooperative. Basically, he was supposed to serve 10 years and he only served 18 months.
Because he was a good boy.
Because he was the good boy. In offender profiling, this is consistent with instrumental compliance behavior, where the individual uses conformity as a strategy for system navigation rather than genuine rehabilitation. I feel like Bailey Sarian right now. You know how she always messes up on the last names and shit.
So it's honestly like he's just at that point. Okay, well, if I'm good and I keep my nose clean and I do what they tell me, I'm gonna get to go home and this is gonna be brushed underneath the rug and pip pop boom, I'm back where I'm supposed to be.
Yep. This behavioral presentation contributed to early release, highlighting a systematic vulnerability in which behavioral performance is misinterpreted as psychological change. And yeah, so he, instead of learning from his behavior, he just adapted his behavior to make it work for him.
Which is even scarier.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just like red flag.
Where's my lamb chop I had when Becca and I were on Tinder?
Yeah. Danger, Will Robinson, danger.
Following release, Twisty re-entered civilian life and established a contracting business. I forgot to put so much shit in there. So while in prison, he started a JC's chapter and significantly increased the enrollment and everything in the inmate chapters of the JC's. So
he was getting allies. He was forming his own little army.
Yes, he was. So following release, Twisty re-entered civilian life and established a contracting business. From a criminal perspective, I'm not even gonna try. This is today is not the day. This is significant because it proved increased unsupervised access to private environments and vulnerable individuals, a key environmental facilitator in later offenses. He also remarried because the first wife divorced him when the sodomy case popped up.
Well, yeah, I mean that would be a little hard to stand behind someone with in that
unless
case.
You truly knew they were innocent.
Yeah, but
you were there and you knew nothing happened.
Yeah, but see that this is not the first time something like this has come up with him with accusations. This one just went further. That would be very hard to do. I mean, that's kind of like one of those, you move counties, states, and change your name and maybe have some plastic surgery done.
He also remarried, further reinforcing his social normalization. His external identity remained stable and functional, but internally, behavioral compartmentalization increased. And he married a single mom who had 2 kids.
Oh, that's scary. Ooh. Oh, that's grody. No.
This phase illustrates what profiling literature identifies as environmental opportunity convergence, where access, mobility, and trust intersect without external monitoring. I feel like Spencer Reed right now.
Yeah, you kind of sound like him.
Do I really?
Yeah, okay. And I'm just over here like, oh, it's grody.
You're Garcia, who's sitting there like, I need my panda pictures, and I'm over here like, fact a minute.
That's okay. Derek Morgan talks to me like that any day he wants to.
Chocolate thunder. Twisty developed a clown persona known as Pogo. And there was actually a second one, I don't remember the name, but he had two. And Pogo was like the funny, laughing clown that he went to the children's hospital as and like talked to the sick children. And the other one was like the serious clown. It was like, no kids, don't do drugs, but didn't make it a joke. Which he performed at civic and community events. This persona functioned as a social inoculation mechanism, reinforcing perceptions of harmlessness and accessibility. From a psychological standpoint, this demonstrates identity compartmentalization reinforcement, where distinct personas are maintained to serve different social environments without overlap. Could you imagine? Think about it. Years after your kid's 5th birthday with Pogo the Clown, you read the news article and there he is with the charges.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's when you look at yourself as a parent and go, I fucked up.
I fucked up big time.
I mean, think about it. I mean, he's like putting himself in that situation with, okay, if it's a happy moment, I can be there, or if it's a sad moment, I can be there. I can be around your children in any emotional state they need to be in.
Oh, Grandpa just died? Call the guy who's Pogo and see if he can come as the serious one today.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk to the kids about why burning down buildings is bad. We need that depressed clown. What's his name?
Yeah, for real. I think it was another P name, but I don't exactly remember. This duality significantly reduced suspicion and increased trust capital within the community. I'm sorry if you guys hear the whoosh sound. Sandwich Man is playing with his dog, and he's treating it as if it's the broom. And why'd you just body slam poor Shelby with the dog? Leave my fur nephew alone. Bring me my boy.
No, he's mine.
You're rude.
Hi, buddy.
Beginning in the early 1970s, Twisty engaged in a repeated pattern of offenses involving vulnerable young males. Again, hi-ho. That was the other one. These behaviors are characterized in profiling terms as organized predatory behavior with situational grooming tactics. Wow, does this sound familiar?
Little bit.
The grooming and everything. His approach consistently involved trust building through social or occupational pretexts, followed by isolation. Once isolated, control was maintained through psychological manipulation and physical restraint. Victims were ultimately concealed in hidden locations associated with his residence. This phase reflects a fully developed behavioral routine system, meaning actions were no longer isolated incidents, but part of repeated structured methodology. You're so quiet in this one. Are you just like taking all this in?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of one of those. There's so much sadness that goes along with how he got to where he actually was,
Mhm.
and what brought all this in. It's really hard because it starts from a young age. The fact that you've got very controlling dad that has no sympathy or true love for their kid, and it goes into adult life, and he's just looking for that acceptance.
Now, there was a part, I think it was when he was managing all the KFCs and stuff, his dad told him he was proud. And it broke him. Twisty's residence functioned as a dual-purpose environment, a normal household in appearance and a concealed crime scene beneath structural areas of the home.
Oh no, it was Patches.
Patches, that's it. It wasn't
Patches. Pogo and Patches.
Pogo and Patches. Patches was the serious clown and Pogo was the fun clown. Over time, environmental indicators such as odor were reported but not escalated effectively. Sorry guys, we're like looking all this up because for some reason I did not review the script fully enough.
Well, it wasn't sticking in my head because I knew what it was and I couldn't think of what it was.
Well, like, usually the day of recording, I look back over and add stuff in, but since we decided this at such this last minute second, I didn't get time to do that today. From a systems failure perspective, this illustrates normalcy bias where familiar environments reduce perceived threat recognition. Here we come. For the breakthrough. The disappearance of Robert Peast initiated a coordinated investigative response. Law enforcement surveillance identified inconsistencies in Twisty's statements and behavior, prompting a search warrant. So actually, I just found this girl on TikTok. Her mom was the friend who gave Robert the blue jacket.
Oh, that's sad.
And she was like one of the last people to talk to him, and she's wrote a book and all of that. But she was the one who, during that shift, wore his blue jacket.
Yeah.
And gave it back to him right before he went out to talk to the contractor, which was Twisty, about a job at the pharmacy. So leaving the pharmacy and going to that.
Wow.
Evidence recovered during the search linked him to multiple missing persons cases, marking the collapse of his constructed social identity. Initially, Twisty denied involvement. However, under sustained interrogation, inconsistencies in narrative control emerged. He ultimately provided confessions regarding multiple offenses. From a behavioral perspective, this phase represents cognitive decomposition under investigative pressure where structured deception becomes unsustainable. So it's like, if I confess, I can still be the good boy. Like, I said I did it.
Well, and I mean, he's already served jail time one time and didn't serve what he was thinking for because he was the good boy.
Yeah.
So that persona is going to come through, and that be like, well, if I just work the system this way and I tell them what they want to hear and do what they want to do, then it's not going to be as bad on me.
Mm-hmm. During trial, the defense argued diminished responsibility due to psychological impairment. However, prosecution evidence demonstrated planning, awareness of actions, and behavioral control. So they tried to pull a Geen and get him out on psychological help.
Right.
But no one was buying that shit. The court ultimately determined full legal responsibility, resulting in multiple convictions and a death sentence.
Fun times.
On death row, Twisty engaged in artistic expression, correspondence, and media interaction. His final meal consisted of a bucket of KFC fried chicken, fried shrimp, French fries, a pound of fucking strawberries,
wow,
and a soft drink. His final statement was, "Kiss my ass." I mean, that is kind of funny, but the fact that, you downed a bucket of KFC chicken, which is easy to fucking do. I mean, come on. The fried shrimp, the French fries, but the pound of strawberries.
It's a lot of strawberries.
It's a lot of strawberries. But if you look at it, some people like him who don't believe in their brain they did it, were trying to prolong that time frame. Like, if I take too long to eat, maybe they'll just do me in the morning and I can get out of this.
The art started with stuff that his sister would send him, and he would take like the art classes and he would draw stuff, and like the amount of Disney paintings and things that he done.
So do you want to hear something fucked up, speaking of like, kids cartoons with Disney? You remember watching Quiet on Set?
Yes.
Okay. Oh my god, his name just went out of my mind. Rob Schneider. In his house, he had one of the portraits that Twisty done of himself.
Yeah.
In his house. And none of the parents thought, oh, that might be an issue. Yes, the child was all up in those. He was executed by lethal injection in 1994.
Wow.
Now, are you ready to reveal who Twisty really is to the audience?
Not Rob Schneider.
Not Rob Schneider. Oh my god. I'm so sorry, guys. Hang on. Before we get to the reveal. What was his name? Dan Schneider.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Dan, not Rob. Sorry, wrong 3-letter name with the last name of Schneider.
Thank you. Don't be hating on people. But no, I mean, but when you see his artwork, it's like the earlier stuff is a little janky, I ain't gonna lie. But the more he dove into it and the more he done, there's actually some of them are very beautiful.
Oh, they are really good.
I mean, I've seen them in person, and they're like, but there's some of them that you really stand back and you're like, oh my gosh, it's gorgeous.
Are you ready to hear who we've been talking about this whole time?
Sure.
We have been talking, Sinister Sippers, about John Wayne Gacy. I don't know if anyone couldn't figure that out, but okay, so when Mom and I were figuring out what name to call him to make this like the Criminal Minds episodes where you didn't know who it was, we literally picked Twisty from American Horror Story because he was loosely based off of him.
Oh, and his story is so sad. I just wanted to go hug him.
It is, but you know, he was really, I mean, not super based on Gacy, but a lot of the face
But
paint
he,
stuff,
yeah,
he
it was loosely
on
based.
Gacy.
But it was still, his story was so sad. I just wanted to go give him a hug.
This whole time, I have almost slipped up.
Yeah.
A couple times, I've been like, hold on, Twisty. Because I wanted to say Gacy so bad.
Well, and but you look at, and then when you see the crawl space and you see the thing, that's why there's a lot of people that do believe he did have people working with him and people working for him.
My theory with that is either it was maybe an illegal construction worker from Mexico who didn't want to go back to Mexico.
Well,
or did he keep the body in his house until he got the next victim and made them put them down there?
Could have, but now some people also think that the people that worked under him, that they were his employees were doing it, and they were also adding to the body count, that they weren't all his.
See, and that's what bothers me in that interview is because he starts to deny killing anybody. He tries to just blame it on everybody else but himself. He's never actually at fault.
There's even some of the paintings that he done. There was one with the Seven Dwarfs.
Yes,
and the tools that I saw it in person. I mean, I was literally like.
So there's several Seven Dwarfs ones. I saw one at Alcatraz.
Okay, so the one that I saw in Savannah,
right?
Yes, in Savannah, and they talk about how some of the dwarves, instead of having the pickaxes like they're depicted in the movie, they have shovels. And they're, some people believe
and the other
that
six.
That's like almost admitting what was going on. But now I will say there was one of the paintings of his that I saw when I was there. It was a cardinal, and it was absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it was beautiful. And just some of the stuff that he done, and he put.
When we watched the Netflix documentary, and he evaded the police, took him on a little car chase because they honestly had him believing they were still his friend, and they're like, he's like, why are they chasing me? They're my friend. What's going on?
Well, and at that point, he's still that little boy trying to get acceptance.
Now, I do know that before he was executed by lethal injection, his dad died. Well, I think it was when he was in prison.
It would have to be because he died in 94 and he was born in 42. So, I mean.
No, when his dad died. Was it when he was in prison the first time?
Maybe.
So. But I do know that they never told him. He didn't know his dad died till after he got out. Or after something.
So he died in 69.
Okay, yeah.
Actually, on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Wow.
He died
at 69.
In 69, and that's when he was locked up, right? For the sodomy charges.
Yes.
So, yes, while Gacy was in prison for the sodomy charges, his father died, and no one told him. Mom didn't think to, visit or...
The sister. And a lot of his visitation once he was incarcerated with the murder charges and stuff, it was mostly his sister.
See, and so, with the sodomy charge, no one told him his dad died until he got out.
Well, the ex-wife is gone at that point, and the family is...
Could you imagine,
probably dealing with their own issues.
Being the second wife who did divorce him before everything was found out.
Yeah.
But afterwards being like, oh my God, did he diddle my kids?
Oh, that would be... Oh.
I guarantee you he was not left alone with the kids.
I would pray not.
I will say he had a pretty cool tiki bar in the house. The tiki bar was cool as shit. You gotta admit, that tiki bar was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Always look for sympathy in the fucking serial killer.
I'm not looking for sympathy. The tiki bar was cool.
No, you're always like,
let's see.
They're twisted, horrible fucking people who don't deserve sympathy. They did what they did.
Let's see. The second wife was from 72 to 76.
Yeah, so
the first wife was 64 to 69.
Yep. This case remains significant in criminal psychology because it demonstrates the coexistence of high social functionality and severe concealed deviant behavior. Oh my gosh. Gacy's profile aligns with characteristics of an organized offender, social adaptability, manipulation, of trust networks, environmental control, and sustained behavioral compartmentalization over time. The central failure in this case was not invisibility; it was recognition. All right, Sinister Sippers, we'll talk more on Gacy in a TikTok.
Yeah.
We'll do a little TikTok at some point this week. If you have any thoughts on John Wayne Gacy or believe there's something that still doesn't add up, we'd love to hear from you. And especially Grayface Museum, if y'all want to reach out because y'all have all the cool shit.
Yeah.
Make sure you're following us on YouTube and Spotify and also on Instagram, so you never miss a new episode of Sinister Sips Investigates. And as always, keep your drinks warm and stay curious because some truths are still out there just beyond the firelight. Bye, everyone.
Bye.